Okay, alright, so in the past lesson, I've been telling you that things are parallelograms. 6.3, you have to determine if it's a parallelogram. There's 5 tests. You do have to memorize these tests. They're very easy, and you have to tell me if they are parallelograms. It only has to pass 1 or more. So it doesn't have to pass all 5, just has to pass 1. So test number 1. It passes, and it is a parallelogram, if each pair of opposite sides are parallel. So if you see something like this, then it passes the test. Okay, that's test 1. Test 2, if both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Well, if you see this, then it passes the test. If both of these are the same and both of these are the same. Pretty easy so far? If they're all parallel, if they're all congruent, if both pairs of opposite angles. Aren't these all just properties we just memorized? If you see this, it passes the test. Okay, test 4. If the diagonals bisect each other, if you see that this is the same as this, and this is the same as this. All of those are just properties. So it helps you memorize the properties by learning the test. Okay, the 5th test is the only one that's a little odd. If one pair, only one pair of opposite sides are congruent and parallel, that's enough information to tell that they're parallelograms. What this means is that if it passes a test, you don't have to check all of those properties we just wrote down. So if it passes these, then you can assume all of these properties are in play. Okay, now don't get confused. It only has to be one side. It doesn't say which one. So it could be the top and bottom, or it could be the side. Yep, only one pair. Have to be both parallel and congruent. All right, to the back. Let's practice. So, in your instructions, it says, determine if each quadrilateral is actually a parallelogram. Justify your answer. What I want you to do to justify is tell me which number. What rule number does it fall under if it passes? So number 1, is that a parallelogram? Which rule? Good. 2, is it a parallelogram? Which rule? What about 3? Nope, it does not pass. Because there's only one pair that we know. If they were parallel, then sure. But just that is not enough information. What about 4? But by which rule? Good. Now, you don't, when I say you have to memorize these rules, you don't have to memorize which one goes with which number. You can if you want to, because on your test, when it says justify, you can say rule number, blah, 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 blah. If you don't know the numbers, then you have to say one pair is parallel and congruent. Okay? So in 5 and 6, you're basically doing the same thing we just did in the last lesson. You're just working backwards. So find x and y so that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Well, if it's a parallelogram, then this equals this. So x would be equal to 5. How'd I know that? It's divided by, right? Okay. And if this is a parallelogram, then these two have to equal 180. So I would take 5y plus 55 equals 180. Subtract 55, and you get 5y is equal to 125. and then divide by 5 again, and y is equal to 25. So that's what x and y would be if this is a parallelogram. Okay, try 6 on your own. Once you're done with 6, I need you to get a piece of graph paper. If you don't have any, I have some over there on the black part. Just one more part to this lesson, then we're done. Finish 6, then go get graph paper. Alright, so what did y'all get for x?
7.
What did you get for y?
4.
Awesome. Okay, if you have your graph paper, I want you to start graphing these points. 4. Because 2y equals 8. Start graphing these points. Graph these points right here. Yeah, like draw this and then start graphing the points. So just like 2, 3, there's A. You're going to have some homework problems that have graphing on it. You can use this same paper if you would like. Alright, so the question says, determine if the following coordinate planes will form a parallelogram. Well, you have a lot of choices. You can either prove that they have all the properties of parallelograms, or you can pick one test. Okay, so out of these 5, you can pick one. To me, the easiest to prove is this one, number 1, because I would rather find the slope than the distance. Do y'all remember the distance formula? The girl with the long hair, swoop to the side, 2 eyes and a nose. I don't want to really use that one. So we can find the slope of all these. Remember, what's the saying you learned when you used slope? What over what? Rise over run. So let's find the rise of just AD. So go up how many? Up how many? 6. And what's your run? 1. Do the same thing over here, because we want both AD and BC to be parallel to each other. So count the rise of BC. What'd you get? 6. And your run is? Awesome. So this is parallel to this. However, we have to check the other side. So I'm going to count the rise. What's the rise on AB? We only go up how many? 1. And then your run is going to be longer. 2, 3, 4, 5. I did get 6 too.
If you didn't do it like yours, then better.
What are you doing?
I just like yours wrong.
You what?
I did yours wrong. Like it's not exactly like yours.
Well, you need to count and make it the right ones. I mean, I'm not going to check this because it's just notes. But on a test, yes, it matters.
I'm talking about like mine, like goes up 8.
Yours shouldn't go up 8. We have the same points. Did you count by twos?
No, like I was about to. No.
Okay. What's the rise right here? We only go up how many? 1. And your run is? So are these parallel? Yes. So you have to justify on this one. I want one sentence. Here's what it would look like. Quadrilateral. Quadrilateral. And how you name this is you just pick a point and go clockwise. So I'm going to start with A. Quadrilateral ABCD is a parallelogram because both sides, don't write sides, sets, sorry, both sets of sides are parallel. Something along that. It doesn't have to be just that. Something along those words. Now, you don't always have to use that rule. If it's on a, here's why I didn't use distance. That's not on a straight line, right? I'd have to use distance formula. If C was down here, and you could count that, then you might use the distance. Because you don't have to count it if it's straight, flat, or up and down. But if it ever goes at an angle, like these, it's not perfectly up and down or side to side, you have to use distance formula. Alright, I'm passing out some practice. There's 10 questions. I want you to finish this today if possible. If not, then by Monday. Tuesday. I'm also passing out your study guide for Wednesday's test. Okay? So get a head start on that this weekend if you don't know what you're doing. And come in ready with questions on Tuesday. Oh, there's a graph on this one. Forgot about that. If you finish, let me see before you pack up. All of them.
So what does that leave us now?
The study guide. Don't listen. I say all these things are asking questions about. When's your study guide due? Wednesday. It's always due the day of the test. I just give it out early in case you want to get it done. You're struggling with parts of it and you want to have some extra practice.